Peaches, I know you wanted to read with me, so why don't you sit up here, okay? All right. Good morning, everybody, or good evening, or good afternoon, or good hello, or whatever time it is that you happen to be checking in here. All right, here you go, lammies. Is that good? All right, well, you can fall asleep if you need to. That's okay. So I thought I'd read from a few things in the library and see if anybody else has something they'd like me to read. So we'll start with this is, I'll just say this is from Hotchkiss Publishing, although definitely written by Sandy Beach. So, thanks, Bill. And this is called Dear Friend, Volume 2. The subtitle is Meditations and Journal for Your Spiritual Journey. This is a book given to me by a friend, and it's titled Dear Friend, Volume 2. A lovely picture of a labyrinth, somebody walking the labyrinth at the side of the beach. My guess is I'm too far for you to make that out. And so we're going to read, we've opened here to page 9. Oh, the slogan for Sandy Beach, which is, I guess, a quote. It's sandybeachbooks.com if you're interested. But the slogan is here on the bookmark that came with the book. Goal is to be the least disturbed person in the room. Goal is to be the least disturbed person in the room. And I'm in a room by myself, so I've done it. Anyway, I've opened to page 9, and each I guess, section starts with Dear Friend, like a short letter, and the header on this is called Stillness. You guys ready? Everybody ready? Panda? Okay, good. Well, I think maybe one sloth has fallen over here. Nope, and now the lammies have fallen over. There you go. Okay. The world is certainly a busy and active place. Everywhere, people are rushing to see how much they can accomplish or how much can be crammed into one day. Sometimes, personal skills are measured by the number of things you can do at once. Can you type a message while talking on the phone at the same time you eat your lunch and put on some makeup? Can you work out, grocery shop, pick up dry cleaning, and make it home by 6 p.m. sharp? If so, you may qualify as a member of society. But how do these same skills apply in our spiritual lives? The answer, of course, is that they do not. In fact, just the opposite applies. Here, we seek the ability to stop. All activity. And to approach that stillness. Wherein lies the infinite love, infinite wisdom, and infinite guidance. The skill of achieving stillness and quiet may be the most challenging effort of our lives. Every fiber in our body and mind rebels against entering the stillness. Yet it is the only doorway to the spiritual realm. Deep in the stillness of our own being lies the great reality of our existence. Nothing will pay greater dividends for us than our time spent in quiet. Today, dear friend, reward yourself with 30 minutes of sitting quietly. Sit comfortably with your hands in your lap and make a small smile. Listen to your breathing as it becomes calm and regular. Very good, Thomas. Very nice. Allow the words, "Make me a channel of thy peace," to continually flow through your mind. Make me a channel of thy peace. Such a practice will deepen your stillness and begin the process of entering your birthright. What joy! Thank you very much, Sandy. How was that, everybody? Was that fun? Did everybody practice? Well, I noticed that the squirrel did not exactly practice meditating. That's not exactly your thing, is it? Not at this point. That's okay. You listened to meditation, and you were present for meditation, and even if you didn't practice, that is a start. Well, I guess I should put the bookmark back with that one. This is a book by Osho. This is I rather purposely selected this one for a fine friend, Dave, and that you'd appreciate having the Harris. Are you awake there, buddy? All right, you good? Well, you seem maybe a little sleepy here. We'll let the other horse help hold you up, okay? Thank you. Okay, so this is Osho, Learning to Silence the Mind, and subtitled Wellness Through Meditation. Learning to Silence the Mind, Wellness Through Meditation. And I just opened up to page 88, or chapter 10, and I'm thinking we may read this whole chapter. So if anybody's planning on falling asleep, maybe make yourself comfortable now, and then we'll take suggestions for other things to read, things that you chose. And if you would be so kind as to not snore if you fall asleep, that'd be just delightful. But also, if you snore, it'll be pretty fun and funny. So that's okay too. Okay? This is chapter 10. In this version, it's on page 88. Learning to Silence the Mind, Wellness Through Meditation by Osho. And we've found this chapter titled, I think I'll leave these on, Mind Thinks, Meditation Knows. Mind and meditation cannot coexist. There is no question of having both of them. Either you can have mind, or you can have meditation, because mind is thinking and meditation is silence. Mind is groping in the dark for the door. Meditation is seeing. There is no question of groping. It knows the door. Mind thinks. Meditation knows. This is a very fundamental reason why man cannot become meditative, or why very few people have dared to become meditative. Our training is of the mind. Our education is for the mind. Our ambitions, our desires, can only be fulfilled by the mind. You can become president of a country, prime minister, not by being meditative, but by cultivating a very cunning mind. The whole education is geared by your parents, by your society, so that you can fulfill your desires, your ambitions. You want to become somebody. Meditation can only make you a nobody. Who wants to become a nobody? Everybody wants to go higher on the ladder of ambitions. People sacrifice their whole life to become somebody. Alexander was coming to India. A madness had entered in his mind. He wanted to conquer the whole world. Everybody has a little bit of that kind of madness, but he had the whole chunk. And while he was coming toward India, passing the boundaries of Greece, somebody said to him, "You have been asking many times about a mystic, a very strange man, Diogenes. He lives nearby. If you want to see him, it is a few minutes' walk just by the side of the river." Diogenes was certainly a very strange kind of man. In fact, if you were a man, you were going to be a strange kind of man, because you were going to be something unique. He lived naked, just like most of the Fuzzies. He was one of the most beautiful men possible, but he always used to have a lighted lamp in his hand, day or night. It made no difference. Even in the day, in the full light of the sun, he was holding his lamp while walking on the streets. We have a lamp lit behind us, just over there. I don't know if it's on camera though, but it's just over here. And there's another up above. People used to laugh at him and used to ask him, "Why are you carrying this lamp, unnecessarily wasting the oil and becoming a laughingstock?" Diogenes used to say, "I have to keep it because I am looking for the authentic, the real man. I have not come across him yet. I come across people, but they are all wearing masks. They are all hypocrites." He had a great sense of humor. To me, that is one of the most important qualities of a genuinely religious man. While he was dying, he still kept the lamp by his side. Somebody asked Diogenes, "You are dying. Let us know about the man you were searching for. Your life is ending. Have you been successful in finding the authentic man?" He was almost on the verge of death, but he opened his eyes and said, "No, I could not find the authentic man. But I am happy that nobody has stolen my lamp yet, because all around there are thieves, criminals, all kinds of robbers, and I am a naked, unprotected man. This gives me great hope. My whole life I carried the lamp, and nobody has stolen it yet. This gives me great hope that someday the man will be born whom I have been looking for. Perhaps I have come too soon." And he died. So many stories about him Alexander had heard and had loved. He said, "I would like to go and meet him." It was early morning. The sun was rising. Diogenes was lying on the sand on the bank of the river taking a sunbath. Alexander felt a little awkward because Diogenes was naked. He also felt embarrassed because this was the first time that somebody had continued to lie down in front of him. Perhaps the man does not know who I am. So he said, "Perhaps you are unaware of the person who has come to meet you." Diogenes laughed. He also used to have a dog. That was his only companion. Asked why he had made a dog a friend, he said, "Because I could not find a man worth making a friend." Do you hear the dog barking? Perfect. Perfect part of the story. He looked at the dog who was sitting by his side and said, "Listen to what this stupid man is saying. He is saying I do not know who he is. The fact is, he himself does not know who he is. Now what to do with such idiots? You tell me. Shocked, but it was a fact. Still, Alexander tried to make some conversation. He bypassed the insult. He said, I am Alexander the Great. Diogenes said, My God. He looked at the dog and said, Did you hear that? That was his constant habit to refer to the dog. Did you hear that? This man thinks himself the greatest man in the world. That is a sure sign of an inferiority complex. Only people who suffer from inferiority pretend to be great. The greater the inferiority, the more they start projecting themselves higher, bigger, vaster. But he said to Alexander, What is the point of your coming to me, a poor man, a nobody, whose only possession is a lamp, whose only companion in this whole world is a dog, who lives naked? For what have you come here? Alexander said, I have heard many stories about you, and now I can see that all those stories are bound to be real. You are certainly a strange man, but in a way immensely beautiful. I am going to conquer the world, and I heard you are just residing here. I could not resist the temptation to come and see. Diogenes said, You have seen me. Now don't waste time, because life is short and the world is big. You may die before you conquer it. And have you ever considered, if you succeed in conquering this world, what are you going to do next? Because there is no other world than this. You will look simply foolish. And can I ask you, why are you taking so much trouble conquering the world? You call me strange, someone who is just having a beautiful sunbath, but you don't think yourself strange, stupidly strange, that you are on your way to conquer the world? For what? What will you do when you have conquered the world? Alexander said, I have never thought about it, to be frank with you. Perhaps I will relax and rest when I have conquered the world. Diogenes turned to the dog and said, Do you listen? This man is mad. He is seeing me already resting, relaxing, without conquering a thing. And he will relax when he has conquered the whole world? Alexander felt ashamed. There was truth, so clear, so crystal clear. If you want to rest and relax, you can rest and relax now. Why postpone it for tomorrow? And you are postponing it for an indefinite time. Meanwhile, you will have to conquer the whole world, as if conquering the whole world is a necessary step in being relaxed and finding a restful life. You guys like this part, huh? The slothies like the restful life part of the story. Yeah. I'll show you where it is. It's right over here where it says the restful life. Do you want to see? I know that you guys are slow readers. See where it says right by my finger, restful life? They're very slow readers, the sloths. Okay, that sloth has fallen asleep. So I guess he's technically a faster reader. Oh, sorry, Peaches. Here you go. You got your book. Okay. You're in the sunshine too, isn't that nice? Alexander said, I can understand. I am looking foolish before you. Can I do anything for you? I have really fallen in love with you. I have seen great kings, great generals, but I have never seen such a courageous man as you, who has not even moved, who has not even said good morning, who has not bothered about me. On the contrary, who goes on talking to his dog. I can do anything because the whole world is in my hands. You just say, and I will do it for you. Diogenes said, Really? Then just do one thing. Stand a little away from me because you are blocking the sun. I am taking a sunbath and you don't understand even simple manners. Alexander remembered him continually. All through his journey to India and back, that man haunted him. The fact that he did not ask for anything. He could have given him the whole world just for the asking, but he asked only that Alexander move a little away, because he was preventing the sun from reaching his body. I'm sitting in the sunshine right now. Yeah, I'm getting nice and warmed on my back on a cold morning in Connecticut. And it feels delightful. As he was leaving, Diogenes had said, "Just remember two things as a gift from Diogenes. One, that nobody has ever conquered the world. Something always remains unconquered, because the world is multidimensional. You cannot conquer it in all its dimensions in such a small life. Hence, everybody who has gone to conquer the world has died frustrated. Second, you will never come back home, because this is how ambition goes on leading you farther and farther. It goes on telling you, just a few miles more, and you will be attaining the very ambition of your heart. And people go on chasing hallucinations, and life goes on slipping through their hands. Just remember these two things as gifts from a poor man, a nobody." Alexander thanked him, although in the cool morning he was perspiring. That man was such. Each thing he said would make you perspire, even in the cold breeze on a cold morning, because he would hit exactly the wounds that you are hiding. Alexander never could reach to being the conqueror of the whole world. He could not reach to the very end of India. He could not reach to Japan, to China, to Australia, and of course America was not known. He turned back from Punjab. He was only 33, but the ambition and the continuous struggle to fulfill it had made him so tired and spent like a used cartridge. He was only 33, at the prime of his youth, but in his inner world he had become old and was ready to die. Somehow, perhaps in death, there would be rest. And Diogenes' shadow was always following him. You will not be able to conquer the world. He turned back, and before reaching Athens, his capital, just 24 hours more. Sometimes small incidents become so symbolic and so meaningful. Just 24 hours more, and he would have at least been back in his capital, in his home. Not in the real home that Diogenes was pointing at, but at least in the house that we all try to make into a home. The home is inside. Outside there are only houses, but he could not even reach the outside house. He died 24 hours before reaching Athens. A strange coincidence. The day Alexander died, Diogenes also died. In Greek mythology, like many other mythologies, in Indian mythology, the same is the case. Before entering the other worlds, you have to pass through a river, the Vaitarani. In Greek mythology also, you have to cross a river. That river is the boundary line of this world and that world. Up to now, whatever I said is historical fact. But after the death of Diogenes and Alexander, the story became prevalent all over Greece. It is very significant. It cannot be historical, but it is very close to truth. It is not factual. That's how I make the difference between facts and truth. A thing may be factual, but still untrue. A thing may be non-factual, but still true. A story may be just a myth, not history, but of immense significance because it indicates toward truth. It is said that Diogenes died a few minutes after the death of Alexander. They met while crossing the river. Alexander was ahead, Diogenes was coming behind. Hearing the sound, Alexander looked back. It was an even more embarrassing encounter than the first one, because at least at that time, Alexander was not naked. This time, he was also naked. But people try to rationalize, tried to hide their embarrassment. So just to hide his embarrassment, he said, "Hello, Diogenes. Perhaps this may be the first time in the whole history of existence that a great emperor and a naked beggar are crossing the river together." Diogenes said, "It is but you are not clear about who is the emperor and who is the beggar. The emperor is behind the beggar. You wasted your life. Still you are stubborn. Where is your empire? I have not lost anything because I had nothing. Only that lamp. That, too, I have found by the side of the road. I don't know to whom it belongs, and by the side of the road I have left it. I had gone into the world naked. I am coming from the world naked. That's what Kabir says in one of his songs. Jan ki tyan dari din hin chadaria, Kabir jadan se odi chadaria. I have used the clothes of life with such care and such awareness that I have returned to God his gift exactly as it was given to me. The whole society, your parents, your teachers, your leaders, your priests, they all want you to become somebody special, Alexanders. But if you want to be meditative, they will all be against you, because meditation means you are turning away from all ambitions. I was a student in the university. The head of my department was so worried about my examinations, he said, I have taught in almost a dozen countries all over the world, hundreds of students, but I have never been concerned about their examinations. It is very puzzling to my mind. Why am I so much concerned about your examination? You have to promise me that you will reach the examination hall in time. I told him, that is not part of your work. Your part is to teach me. It is my business to be worried about the examination or not. If I can manage, I will reach the hall. He was suspicious. The old man used to stand every day with his car outside the hostel in front of my room to pick me up and to see me enter the examination hall. And then he would leave. I said, this is too much unnecessary trouble you are taking. Your house is 4 miles away. You have to wake up and you are not an early riser. He was a drunkard, but life is a mystery. Here, the people who are non-vegetarians, drunkards, gamblers, you may find them so loving and so human that it is surprising. On the other hand, the people who are strictly vegetarian, Adolf Hitler was strictly vegetarian. He never smoked. He never drank any alcoholic beverage. He went to bed early. He got up early in the morning. He was a saint. If you just look at his life pattern and style, he was a monk. And he killed millions of people. It would have been better if he had been a drunkard, a non-vegetarian, a chain smoker, but a nice human being. This old man, my professor, did not drink for those few days. He had to wake up early in the morning to pick me up and force me into the examination hall. The whole university knew. They all thought, this is strange. I said, it is not strange. He loves me. He loves me just like his son, and he wants me to be somebody in life. That is the trouble. That love is creating the trouble. He is afraid that I am too careless about being somebody in the world. He used to instruct the chief examiner, keep an eye that he does not leave when I have left, because I cannot wait outside for 3 hours unnecessarily. Keep an eye on him and don't let him go, and watch to see that he is writing and not doing something else. Sometimes I would finish the answers in 2 hours, but the chief examiner would not allow me to go out. He would say, your professor will torture me. You simply sit here, do whatsoever you want to do, or just go through the answers you have written. Maybe you can add something more. Yeah, that's right, Peaches. We're coming to the end. You're good. Yeah, you're learning to read. I said, this is strange. I am finished with the answers. I should be allowed to go. Everybody else is allowed. He said, everybody else is allowed, but nobody else is being brought here like a prisoner every day. After the examination, the professor would ask me, every day with the test paper in his hand, what have you written about? Just to console him, I would say things which I had not written at all, and he knew it. I knew that he knew it because he was the dean of the faculty, so he was looking at my papers. Before asking me, He had already looked at what I had written, and now I was answering him according to the textbooks, although what I had written was according to myself. But he could not say to me, I have looked, because that is illegal. So he would say, you know, I know. I said, what to do? You should not do anything illegal, and if you are caught doing anything illegal, I will be the first to report it to the Vice-Chancellor. He said, but these are not the answers that you have written. Do you want to remain a nobody for your whole life? It hurts me. You have the talent, you have the genius, you can become anything you want. I said, I don't want to use my talent and my genius to become anybody. I simply want to relax into myself and be myself, anonymous, because my decision is in favor of meditation, not in favor of mind. Whatever you are saying is mind, and I have to use the mind, but the more you use the mind, the farther away it takes you from yourself. This is the reason why man is not meditative. The whole society forces him to be in a state of mind, not in a state of meditation. Just imagine a world where people are meditative. It will be a simple world, but it will be tremendously beautiful. It will be silent. It will not have crimes. It will not have courts. It will not have any kind of politics. It will be a loving brotherhood, a vast commune of people who are absolutely satisfied with themselves, utterly contented with themselves. Even Alexander the Great cannot give them a gift. If you are running to get something outside yourself, you have to be subservient to the mind. If you drop all ambitions and you are concerned more about your inner flowering, if you are more concerned about your inner juice so that it can flow and reach to others, more concerned about love, compassion, peace, then man will be meditative, as the Fuzzies are meditative. Learning to Silence the Mind, Wellness Through Meditation by Osho. Thank you. Perhaps we're still streaming. I don't know. Yeah. Humankind has a lot to learn, don't they? Yeah. Is it a little sad to have to teach what you guys innately know and we innately know, but you have not forgotten and cannot forget? But humankind forgets, loses track of, loses. Yeah, it's a little sad, but it's very compassionate and patient and loving for you to spend time sharing such wisdom with us. I know that you guys already knew all that. What's that, Peaches? Oh, you have one? Oh, Peaches brought a fuzzy-sized book for us to read. Can you say who it is? That's a pretty hard one to read, huh? It's hard, yeah. Pema Chödrön? Is that, you want to try? Yeah, it's a very difficult one, and that's okay. You're not expected to read. I'm going to be reading it to you, okay? Did you pick one? Oh, you did? Okay. Well, let's do that one. Oh, there's a little note from Sue Terry. Hooray. Okay. So this is Awakening Loving Kindness. And this is a fuzzy-sized book. And Peaches has picked out a brief piece here, a Peaches length and breadth piece. And it's page 44 in this Shambhala Pocket Classics book. I expect in a different book it's page 3. But here it's page 44, and it's chapter 5, entitled The Wisdom of No Escape. Well, that's a pretty good title for quarantine, huh? Yeah, good job. So The Wisdom of No Escape, Pema Chödrön's Awakening Loving Kindness. Very unlikely to be legible to you at that distance. The camera's about 10 or 11 feet away, about maybe 3 meters or so, 3.5. Chapter 5, The Wisdom of No Escape. Yesterday I talked about cultivating precision, gentleness, and openness, and described how the meditation technique helps us remember the qualities that we already possess. Now, sometimes the teaching emphasize the wisdom, brilliance, or sanity that we possess, and sometimes they emphasize the obstacles, how it is that we feel stuck in a small, dark place. These are actually two sides of one coin. When they are put together, inspiration or well-being and burden or suffering describe the human condition. That's what we see when we meditate. We see how beautiful and wonderful and amazing things are, and we see how caught up we are. It isn't that one is the bad part and one is the good part, but that it's a kind of interesting, smelly, rich, fertile mess of stuff. When it's all mixed up together, it's us, humanness. This is what we are here to see for ourselves. Both the brilliance and the suffering are here all the time. They interpenetrate each other. For a fully enlightened being, the difference between what is neurosis and what is wisdom is very hard to perceive, because somehow the energy underlying both of them is the same. The basic creative energy of life force, bubbles up and courses through all of existence. It can be experienced as open, free, unburdened, full of possibility, energizing, or this very same energy can be experienced as petty, narrow, stuck, caught. Even though there are so many teachings, so many meditations, so many instructions, the basic point of it all is just to learn to be extremely honest and also wholehearted about what exists in your mind. Thoughts, emotions, bodily sensations. The whole thing adds up to what we call me, or I, or Peaches. Nobody else can really begin to sort out for you what to accept and what to reject in terms of what wakes you up and what makes you fall asleep. No one else can really sort out for you what to accept, what opens up your world, and what to reject, what seems to keep you going round and round in some kind of repetitive misery. Yeah, samsara. Good, very nice, Lati. This meditation is called non-theistic, which doesn't have anything to do with believing in God or not believing in God, but means that nobody but yourself can tell you what to accept and what to reject. The practice of meditation helps us get to know this basic energy really well, with tremendous honesty and warm-heartedness, and we begin to figure out for ourselves what is poison and what is medicine, which means something different for each of us. For example, some people can drink a lot of coffee. Excuse me, everybody. There you go. Oh, you're bowing towards the camera, aren't you? That's okay if you wanted to do that. That's totally reasonable. And it really wakes them up and they feel great. Others can drink just a thimbleful and become a nervous wreck. Everything we eat affects each of us differently. So it is with how we relate with our own energies. So it is with how we relate with our own energies. Sorry, I was misreading. We are the only ones who know what wakes us up and what puts us to sleep. So we sit here on these red cushions. Yeah, you're on a red cushion. Good job. And I'm on sort of a pink blanket, so that's close. So we sit here on these red cushions in this brightly lit room. This is brightly lit. With this fancy, colorful shrine and this huge picture of the Karmapa, and we don't have a Buddha picture here. Outside, the snow is falling and the wind is howling. It's not windy and it's not snow. I think she wrote this somewhere else. I don't think she was, yeah. I think that she was in a zendo doing a Dharma talk. And we're at Someday Farm in the loft. Yeah. Okay, so I'll try it again. But I didn't want to confuse you when she's describing stuff that's not here. So we sit here on these red cushions in this brightly lit room with this fancy, colorful shrine and this huge picture of the Karmapa. Outside, the snow is falling and the wind howling. Hour after hour, we sit here and just come back to the present moment as much as we can. Acknowledge what's going on in our minds. Come back to the present moment as much as we can. Acknowledge what's going on in our minds. Follow the out-breath. Label the thoughts thinking. Come back to the present moment. Acknowledge what's going on in our minds. The instruction is to be as honest and warm-hearted in the process as you can. To learn gradually what it means to let go of holding on and holding back. The message is that each of us has all that it takes to become fully enlightened. We have basic energy coursing through us. Sometimes it manifests as brilliance, and sometimes it manifests as confusion. Because we are decent, basically good fuzzies and people, we ourselves can sort out what to accept and what to reject. We can discern what will make us complete, sane, grown-up people, and what, if we are too involved in it, will keep us children forever. This is the process of making friends with ourselves and with our world. It involves not just the parts we like, but the whole picture, because it has a lot to teach us. Thank you, Pema Chödrön. Thank you. That was a very good choice. You want to hang on to your peaches-sized book? Okay. That does remind me that Lao Tzu teaches us that we are interested in being childlike rather than childish. And at the end there, she talks about growing up. And that. Okay, Harris, you brought a book. Okay, that's good. And it looks like you, yeah. Oh, look at you. You're holding open a page. Oh, okay. Well, this is a Coleman Barks translation of Rumi, who I'm sure this is titled "The Glance," and I think subtitled "Songs of Soul Meeting." So this is Coleman Barks, who's translated here Rumi. "The Glance," Song of Soul Meeting, and Harris here. Actually, Harris the second. Sorry about that, buddy. Yeah, he's taught me an awful lot about horses. He's opened up to one, interestingly, called Hoofbeats. Is that? I see what you did there. Okay, so we're gonna just try Hoofbeats out. You excited? Yeah. Okay. There you go. The sound of hoofbeats leaving a monastery where all is timed and measured. You are that rider, someone who does not care very much about things and results, illness or loss. You are the soul inside the soul that's always traveling. Mind gathers bait. The personality carries a grudge. You weave cloth like the moon leaving no trace on the road. There's a learning community where the names of God are talked about and memorized. And there's another resonance where meanings live. You're on your way from here to there, and don't claim you're not carrying gifts. Your graceful manner gives color and fragrance as creek water animates landscapes it moves through. Hundreds of caravans sail into the sky. You travel alone, by yourself, those caravans. Sun inside one dazzling moat. The emperor's serenity on night watch, as alert as his palace guard. You enchant this visible place so that we imagine you're going somewhere, off to new country. The absolute unknowable appears as spring and disappears in fall. Signs come, not the essence signified. How long will you be a shepherd, single filing us in and out of the human barn? Will I ever see you as you secretly are in silence? As I hold this up, I'm reading the quote on the back as I hold it to the camera. So I think we'll just end with that quote by Rumi, of course, as translated here by Coleman Barks. What is the heart? It is not human, and it is not imaginary. I call it you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you all.